Everglades National Park is renowned for its wetland habitats, covering 1.5 million acres. An international biosphere reserve, it explodes with life that is nourished by the River of Grass, which also supplies drinking water to as many as 8 million people in South Florida. But across the Straits of Florida is another wild place famous for its size and biodiversity. Cienega de Zapata, or Zapata Swamp, is the largest wetland in the Caribbean, often called Cuba's Everglades. There are many similarities between Zapata Swamp and Florida's River of Grass, but this area is also incredibly unique. The Rio Hatiguanaco winds through the northern portion of the Zapata Peninsula, filling its swamps with fresh water and enriching the surrounding coastal estuaries. A journey down the river takes us through a primeval landscape. Sharp eyes might spot rare endemic species like Cuban sliders, arboreal hutias, and Cuban crocodiles. In some areas, the water seems to boil with rolling tarpon. But this river, in fact the entire system, faces many of the same threats that are challenging the Florida Everglades. Invasive fish and plants like the Melaleuca are swiftly choking out the native species. Natural habitat is being lost to agriculture, and fresh water, the lifeblood of both systems, is being diverted for irrigation. Still, Zapata is relatively untouched. Matanzas Province, which is home to Cienega de Zapata, is the largest province in Cuba by land area, and the smallest by human population. Unspoiled prairies, forests, and caves, as well as thriving wildlife, can be found here, and it's a wonderful place for lizards. More than 60 species of anolis lizards call Cuba home, compared to Florida's 1. Male anoles flash their dewlaps in territorial displays, and will defend their ground aggressively. Cuba's most infamous reptile can be found almost exclusively in Cienega de Zapata. Approximately 2,500 of these notoriously aggressive crocs inhabit these swamps. Procreation is key to their survival, and spring is mating season. It's a delicate affair, in reptilian terms at least. With luck, their courtship will add a new generation to a critically endangered population of Cuban crocodiles. Spring is also nesting season for many of Cuba's endemic birds, like the Cuban green woodpecker and the bee hummingbird, believed to be the world's smallest bird. 27 species are only found on this island, and Zapata Swamp is a bird paradise. In fact, 3 species, the Zapata rail, the Zapata sparrow, and the Zapata wren, are only found on this peninsula. This area has been a hotspot for birders for decades. However, it is quickly becoming a premier destination for recreational anglers. The expansive flats of Las Salinas on the southeastern corner of the peninsula are havens for wading birds, like Caribbean flamingos. Peppered with small mangrove islands, the shallow, sandy bottom estuaries are ideal feeding grounds for bonefish, a powerful and sleek species, and a highly prized target for anglers. These silver ghosts are a challenge to stalk, but they seem to be tailing everywhere in Las Salinas. Despite their terrestrial wanderings, land crabs are gill breathers. In Zapata, they make their homes in the forest, burrowing down to the water table to keep their gills moist, and emerging for periods of time to scavenge. These crabs also employ the ocean's currents to disperse their fertilized eggs. This means that periodically they must march to the sea to release them, and they do this by the tens of thousands. The epic migrations, usually triggered by the first rains of spring, carpet the forests and roads along the coast. It is a perilous journey, and for thousands, a deadly pilgrimage. All along the side of this road here in Playa Larga on the Peninsula de Zapata is a mound of what from afar looks like sand, but when you bend down and look at it, it's actually the skeletal remains of hundreds of thousands of land crabs who have
met their end right here on the street.
But some that are sacrificed become opportunities for the living. In a gruesome twist, other land crabs help to dispose of the mess. Those that are spared will have the opportunity to release their eggs into the sea, whose currents may carry a new generation to faraway shores. Like the Florida Everglades, Ciénaga de Zapata is a vast wilderness area that still shelters an incredible diversity of life. But like the Everglades, man's presence is being felt more and more. If these two biosphere reserves are to survive, it will take human efforts to preserve them for generations to come.